Welcome to another episode of Stories of a Volunteeraholic, and I'm excited about this next guest. Probably the most excited, right? Because it's my husband. And so welcome, Mr. T. Meyer. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people know that I'm a volunteeraholic. So I thought it would be kind of fun to bring my husband in and talk with him about what's it like to be married to a volunteeraholic. And so my question for you is I'll start you off with the normal questions. Did you grow up volunteering?
I don't recall doing much volunteering when I was growing up.
No. So then when we started dating and you noticed how much I volunteered, what did you think of that?
It's pretty amazing how busy you were. And then I was just happy to be with you. So whatever you were doing, wherever you were going, I was right there behind you.
So you think of all the things that we have volunteered together or you volunteered on your own, do you have a favorite volunteer memory?
What I remember is doing the building the mountain bike trails with Evergreen. And then we're still building one of the trails, but then this family went through and you hear the kids laughing and seeing the family together, that meant a lot to me. Because when I first saw that, it was I was riding the trails out there and I felt like I needed to contribute and not just, ride on other people's work, so.
I think that was a really neat thing. Well, tell us a little bit more about, are those trails in the state of Washington? Or are they, where are they? How long did it take to build them?
They're in Tacoma, Washington. They're in a Swan Creek Park. And I've helped volunteer there over the course of like 3 years. So it went from being a rundown trails with a lot of bad stuff going on there to cleaning them out and to having, building trails for all different skill levels and from little kids, even like a little pump track for the little kids to jumps that I don't even do. So, and it's nice and it's local and you would never know it's there unless someone told you about it. So, but yeah.
That's cool. That was a really neat project that you did. I was very proud of you, and I liked watching how much you enjoyed, working in the woods with all the other volunteers and different things like that. How did you find out about that project? Do you remember?
Riding the trails out there.
Oh, okay. They had a sign that said the volunteer groups, or?
No, I just saw them working on the trails. And is it okay if I go through here? Because the trails are still building. So I think initially I looked around for places to ride that were like local, and I think somehow I found a patch of woods by looking on Google Earth or something like that, and then I went there, and that's why I started seeing people. I was like, oh, there's people actually build these trails. Like, okay, and I think I saw them 2 different times, and then that's when I talked to them about coming out and helping out.
So do you feel like when you did that project, did you learn anything from it? Like, did you use skill sets that you already had, or do you feel that they taught you things about doing a project like that?
Oh, they taught me things. We even went to a class on how to build trails, because there's a whole slew of techniques for it, like how far down you had to dig down, like down to where it's just the minerals, not the organic material, because that way the trail will stay clear. But if it still has organic material in it, then it'll grow over quicker.
Very cool.
Just different the flow of the trails, and then how to make a trail to where you don't have to pedal as much. You can just kind of work and pump the trail to build up speed and stuff. So, and I was also the one who always brought my bike. A lot of people didn't bring their bike. It was always kind of like the test dummy for the trail. So we build part of it, and I ride it wrecked or something. And they'd be okay, let's change this part, and so it's pretty fun.
Very cool. Very cool. And that was just what was the name of the nonprofit that you were working with?
It's a Evergreen Mountain Bike Association.
And so, do they do projects like that all over the area, like Tacoma, Seattle?
Yeah, I think it's mostly at Puget Sound, all up and down Puget Sound. It's like yeah, it's all the different bike parts in Puget
Nice.
Sound.
Very cool. That sounded like a really fun project. Now, when you think of, like I said, or let me share, we've been together for it's going on 20 years. And so when we think of all the different volunteer projects, is there a volunteer project you're like, I do not want to do this again? Don't put me here.
Huh. I don't think so. There's not one that I have in my back of mind like, oh, that one, yeah. But because like we were talking about earlier, Dad, as like when you give me like, okay, we got a project, here's an itinerary, and since you know that about me, I have like an itinerary for a project, so I know what's expected of me. That like because that's the way my brain works. I got a list to go off to check out what I do first, what's next, so I know what's coming. That's what makes me feel more comfortable. So when you see you have something going on the weekend, I was like, what's my role? Where are we going? What are we doing? And then we have it down pat as far as like, okay, we need this, these things, this outer load in the truck. This is when we need to be there. So
Yeah, I agree. We've definitely grown in our communication style and how we get things ready. This is an Amy project, a Mark project, a we project, different things like that. And I am very lucky or blessed, however you see it, for having a partner that's like, okay, just sign me up. Let me turn my cap around and you just let me know which direction to go. That's kind of a neat. For me, being a volunteeraholic, having that type of support and seeing all the collateral beauty. Like I think, like you said, seeing witnessing the family have a great experience because of the trails that you built. We think of different projects where, whether it's welcoming service members home, feeding them dinners or holidays, different things like that. I always say it's where I get my joy, but when we think of volunteering in a family affair, it is really important that everybody sees some collateral beauty, or it just doesn't make any sense to do it. Now, you think, do you think you'll eventually go back to building trails, or that was just really great for that time?
I might when I have more time.
What? You don't have time on your hands?
I mean, like, I know we're both you go all the time anyways, and I kind of like jump on the rodeo as it's going. But I'm always feel most comfortable in the support role, like helping you out with things, not being in charge of it, but like helping out. Yeah, but right now just so busy with Air Force stuff, and then how many hours I work at my job, and then there's little, and then with the grandkids. So yeah, it takes up pretty much all my time. So.
Do you ever look around and think, oh, I wish a nonprofit did this? Like, of all the nonprofits that we work with or are part of, do you see any blind spots?
I think I see areas where places, parts of the community need to be cleaned up or need to be that used to be taken care of by some nonprofit, but it's waned and it's gone back to disarray or whatever. So you kind of think I'm not the only one that's seeing this, right? This since it's like Swan Creek, if people aren't constantly in there, then all the stuff that was there before starts slowly coming back in. So
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we're at this precipice, personally, of change within our society and our environments, where we really do need everybody to get involved and improve things. And I think it's good to notice when things are starting to kind of backslide, to try to figure out how we can come alongside it. You see a need, find a need, fill a need kind of mentality. I think that's really good. So, what do you think? Like, you know that I was raised in volunteering, and as you shared, you really weren't. Do you
Yeah.
think?
Not sure if I was really raised. I was just just on my own a lot. So
Would you? Do you think you would have responded really well to volunteering, or
uh,
yeah, like it's
yeah,
kind of
it could, because it would have given me some kind of structure instead of just getting into trouble, or whatever, just running around town, whatever, But yeah, I think it would have given me more structure going on. It probably would, benefit me a lot to have some kind of structure, but instead it was just, you know,
yeah, no worries. I think you know. I see so much, like, I'm going to take it back. I see so much joy, but I do feel like kids are great participants in volunteering because it gives them something to do. It gives them a way to contribute. It allows them to solve problems and be a part of the solutions. And so I think it is really important to bring our youth along. But I also always ask, in high schools nowadays, it's mandatory to volunteer in order to graduate. Do you think that's a good idea?
yeah,
You do?
definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might be controversial, but I mean, I also think I like how, like, Israel, they have, like, you have to have, everybody has to serve like 2 years in the military. I mean, it's just 2 years. Like, that's not that long, but then it gives them, it would give kids, like, more structure, a bigger view of the world, especially if they travel, which would benefit anybody. So definitely, volunteering as part of the graduation requirement, I think that's a really good idea.
Okay. All right. It's interesting. Like, I ask everybody that question, and it's, I don't know if it's 50-50, but there's, I see both perspectives because I think there are a number of kids who have to work, or, there's barriers to entry of what you're asking them, and whether they're fully understanding all the possibilities of volunteering. But I do like, if you can, doing it, different things like that.
All right, cut. I want to keep the camera rolling though. I want to get. Do you mind getting a little personal? Like, how is it? Is she hard to keep up with?
Is she hard to keep up with it?
Is it hard to keep up with the volunteering?
Yeah, well, yeah, we literally have a whiteboard with her schedules written on it. Because she'll tell me, she'll be talking about her projects, and sometimes she'll tell me all that stuff. But I think sometimes she thinks she told me, but she just talked to me about it. Because my problem is, unless I'm told this is your role and this is what I need from you in this thing, then sometimes I'm like, and she could have 100% told me about it, and it just didn't make the connection that I had needed to do A, B, or C. Like, the worst question you could ask her is like, "Are you busy?" I don't care if it's night or days. If you ask her if she's busy, she's always got a project or something going on, or going from one thing to the other, or going from an event with one shirt on, changing her shirt, and then going back to the same event, just under a different role. So
I've done that with both nonprofits' blessings. I've done that. And we have also had go bags at different times for different nonprofits that I'm supporting or doing, or okay, we're doing MVP for this. We're going to bring all TMF stuff for the next project, and then we're going to end with the USO. I haven't volunteered for the USO for years, but I feel like Mark has actually made me a better project manager and a better communicator because, it's that it's not reciprocity, it's that consistency. Like, I consistently need my partner's help, and so as I'm learning to communicate better and more effectively with him, I'm realizing, oh, my volunteers also need that, or my your staff members or whatever. And so I've been able to bring that same communication going both directions, and been a much more on top of it person who is, spinning all the different plates in the air. And so Mark has really impacted me because he hasn't given up. Where traditional volunteers will be like, that was cool, never going to do it again. My husband was like, so this is what I needed that you didn't give me. And you can argue with your husband where you can't argue with a volunteer and different things like that. You didn't think there was any other thing that I was trying to say when I put the groceries on this side of the door and the supplies on that side of the door? And he goes, no.
Yeah, sometimes
I did not.
Sometimes it'd be an argument, and then he gets loaded up with, you get loaded up and then you separate. Not, it's, for the day where you separate and then you come back like, okay, you're right. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. That does make sense. Or sometimes I'll be like, well, I was thinking about, she asked me what I'm doing. I was like, well, I was thinking about doing this. She goes, no, this is what we got going on this weekend. And then she give me an itinerary again, do this, this, and this. And sometimes it'll be wake up early to be at some place setting up a booth at like 6 a.m, and then 2 or 3 different places, and then finally get home at like 10 at night, something like that. That's what we're doing this weekend. So it's never a dull moment. So it's always something exciting.
Right. But I do try to feed into his things, or if he's got a weekend off, I don't give him any advice unless he asks me. And if he wants to mow the lawn at 10 o'clock at night, then he can mow the lawn at 10 o'clock at night. I'm just going to try not to say anything because I'm super lucky or blessed that he is my ride or die on all my projects. And so I do think that might be one of our secret sauces. Like, I leave him alone if I can, but he is absolutely there for me.
That's awesome. Now, can you do you find you work with your volunteers that usually do they have some conflicts or issues with not getting support from people in their family, spouse, kids, significant other?
So a lot of times I think
Hold on, before you go there, start by redressing my question. So.
Okay. So the question was, do I find that my volunteers struggle with family balance? And a lot of the times I feel like volunteers don't realize they can bring their family along, and how important it is for them to do that as often as possible. Now, one of the nonprofits that I work with, you really can't bring your kids into another school. But other than that one scenario, the more you bring kids to a park cleanup or neighborhood cleanup or a project, different things like that, the better it is. You're getting your kids out and about with you. You're doing something. We think they're not going to like it because they always say no to us. They always complain to the parent and different things like that. But when they're a part of a group of people who are doing a thing, most of the time kids are like, hey, I'll do this. And parents are super shocked. And so I want to hear what they have to say. Like, if somebody backs out of something because of family commitment or different things like that, that's totally fine. And volunteering truly is just a gift of the most precious resource on this earth, which is time. And so I want to make sure to honor whatever process they're in. But I also want to say, if the problem is that you have to bring your kid, let's figure that out. I have a project that's coming up in April that we're fixing the sweat lodge on by American Lake House or American Lake Veterans Center. And what's beautiful about it is my volunteer is going to have projects specifically for kids that are, safe, that are productive, that are so that the kids that join in are a part of it. And I think that's really important. So I do feel like that when I have that conversation, like listening and really listening to see if there's a problem you can solve, or there's the opportunity to give compassion. Hey, I understand that, it's really important to be there for our kids. So dance recital, football game, those things are all, a priority. And, I'm sorry, I'll miss you. I'll see you next time. That kind of thing. Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on. And this is Mark T. Meyer, the spouse of the Volunteeraholic.
I do exist.
He does exist. Yes. Thank you for joining in.